Mr. Speaker, will you call the House to order?
Mr. Morelli.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. Members have on their desks a C calendar. I now move to advance the C calendar.
On Mr. Morelli's motion, the C calendar is advanced.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. On page 3 of that C calendar is Rules Report 26, and we can go directly to take it up on debate.
Clerk will read.
Assembly Number 9000D, Rules Report 26, Budget Bill, an act making appropriations for the support of government.
Governor's message is at the desk. Clerk will read.
I hereby certify to an immediate vote Andrew M. Cuomo, Governor.
Mr. Oates.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. Chairman Farrell, if you could yield to just a couple of quick questions. All right.
Mr. Farrell yields.
This bill, which funds all of the operations of state government, what does this bill spend in total?
In total, approximately $45.1 billion.
That's the amount of appropriated.
That's the appropriation.
Appropriation for it, and in actual expenses. What is that amount?
Well, it looks like $8.2 billion from general funds and $28.3 billion from all fund basis.
And do we have any comparative figures from the current year into the new fiscal year? Or what we're spending increase or decrease, or is that a flat amount?
We don't have it present at this moment. There's someone running down the stairs right now.
All right. If we get that, or maybe on another bill, we might do that. Thank you very much, Chairman.
Mr. Daniel Steck.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On the bill.
On the bill, Mr. Steck.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'll note the hour. It is April 1st, 0400. And I'll also note that approximately 12 hours ago, I stood up on our first budget debate of the day and talked a little bit about what I thought was reasonable and unreasonable. And I pointed out that, while I don't think any of us can match the stamina of Mr. Farrell, I certainly wasn't offering to complain about my own, and I still don't now, 12 hours later, 4 o'clock in the morning. But I do want to talk about, or bring a point again about what I thought was not reasonable. We received this bill that we are on debate on right now at 4:58 p.m. on March 31st, 12 minutes before the end of the fiscal year, 4 hours and 12 minutes ago. It is 702 pages long. 702 pages long. I'd like to see anybody in this room that has read these 702 pages. I don't think it's reasonable at 4 o'clock in the morning, when none of us have read this because it's only 4 hours old. Certainly no one in the public has seen it because it's only 4 hours old. For those very reasons, in accordance with Rule 2, Section 4, Subdivision 5, I move to postpone vote and action on this until Sunday, April 3rd, so that we can meet the constitutional requirements of allowing 3 days public inspection. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
On Mr. Steck's motion, clerk will record the vote. Are there any other votes? Announce the results.
Ayes 36, noes 81.
The motion is defeated. Mr. McLaughlin.
Mr. Speaker, I think I'll wait just a minute until the bill comes up. Are we up on the bill? There we go.
Well, you want to wait a little longer?
No, I'm
all
ready.
right.
No. I just would the chairman yield?
Mr. Farrell yields.
Thanks, Denny. Under public protection, just a few questions that I have on, like I have had every year for the past couple of years on SAFE Act funding. What we show is an unknown amount to support employees affiliated with the SAFE Act. That's one section of this funding. Do you show that as well, that there's an unknown amount in this budget for that?
Is this in here?
I have a known amount on.
Yeah, no, the budget contains 3.2 million for the implementation of the SAFE Act. This funding levels flat from last year's enacted budget and supports 39 staff.
Right. So that would be 3.2 million. That's 3.2 million in new money, right? Because it was 3.2 million last year.
Yes.
This is an additional 3.2 million, and that would be for the state police employees, the technical police services within the state police, to support employees affiliated with the SAFE Act, right?
Yes.
So there's 3.2 million there, but then we have another section that says there's an unknown amount to support employees affiliated with the SAFE Act. That seems to be under criminal justice services.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. 1.8 million to the Division for State Police, 324,000 in Division for Criminal Justice Services, and 1.1 million in the Office of Information and Technology Services for 16 FTE, for 16 full-time employees.
So I apologize, Denny. Can you repeat the numbers? 1.8 million.
Yes, for
And what was the-
27 full-time,
That's 1.8 million, but you said a couple other.
324,000
Yeah.
in the Division for Criminal Justice Services,
Uh-huh.
12 people there. 1.1 million in the Office of Information and Technology Services, 16 people there.
Okay. So that's 2.9, and then the other 324,000. That's the 3.2 million, though, right, Denny?
Yes,
Okay. So what I'm trying to get at, though, is do you show anywhere in your budget information that says that there's in addition to the 3.2, there's an actual unknown amount to support employees affiliated with the SAFE Act? And I ask that because that's what we're showing. So I know about the 3.2, but I don't know about an unknown amount.
no, neither did I know, that's why it's unknown.
Right, but it's an unknown amount, but it is an amount of something.
Yes,
Okay. When could we expect to know the unknown amount?
well, you know something I don't know.
Was it intentionally omitted? It doesn't say it, but
We
we've
don't
seen that a
know.
lot today.
If there is, they got it past us,
Okay.
but we'll take it.
So if it's unknown, that's to support employees. We don't know what it is yet. We think it's some amount, no idea, but we know there's 3.2. That much we agree on.
Yeah.
Okay. And I know it's maybe in another bill, and if it is, then I'll wait till that other bill comes up. Is there anything to your knowledge in this bill that has to do with the funding of the database development for the SAFE Act?
If anything, if there is that, we're doing 20.7 was a reappropriated in its support of the technology-related components of the SAFE Act. Maybe that's what you're thinking of, and that's in the capital program.
That's in capital, okay. So I guess I'll wait on that, but you're saying there's 20.7 million there as a reappropriation?
Yeah, reappropriation. There are no new capital appropriations in the budget.
How much has been spent? We just keep reappropriating the same 20 million? We must have spent some of it.
How much was it before? No, I gave you. In nine, so it was 29 before. It was 20. How much more? Okay. They may have spent 9 million altogether.
Maybe 9
Yeah.
on database?
No, on different things
Okay.
to support the thing.
And there's no contract that we know of with any database developer. We don't even know who's developing
Right.
the supposed database. Okay. All right, Denny. Thank you. I appreciate the information. Thank you. Mr. Speaker, on the bill.
On the bill, Mr. McLaughlin.
So, on the state operations bill, once again, we see money being spent on the SAFE Act. We also appear to see an unknown amount in this bill to support employees. We know about 3.2 million that's going to support state police employees, but then there appears to be an unknown amount, which is troubling in the extreme, that there's an unknown amount in the budget that's going someplace else altogether. And then in the other bill, we'll see reappropriation of 20 million. But for this bill, as I have in years past, I refuse to vote for any budget bill that funds the SAFE Act. So for that reason, I will be voting no. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Ra.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will Mr. Farrell yield?
Yes, I will, Mr.
Will you yield? Mr.
Yeah.
Farrell yields.
Thank you. I just wanted to go through quickly a couple of the provisions dealing with education and some of the funding to the state education department. Number one, I see there's 2 new offices within the department being funded. One of them is the Office of Family and Community Engagement. Now, is that tied directly into the My Brother's Keeper initiative?
Yes.
Is their portfolio of this new office broader than just that initiative, or is it just so that they could be in charge of that initiative?
It's broader.
Okay. I mean, is there like a general description of what they might also be doing?
It's up to the department to decide. And
So-
they can round it out.
Okay, and there's $2 million being allocated for that office, correct?
It's to give them grants and it funds the department.
Okay, fair enough. The other office is the non-public school office and Office of Religious and Independent Schools. Now, this being a new office, I know that in the past there's been some issues with the comprehensive attendance policy and those types of things, and I guess a view I get from some of those institutions that they didn't have any focus on their needs at the state education department level. Is this funding going to schools, or this is, again, just within the state education department?
It's in both things.
So some of this money may actually be going to the schools themselves?
Yes.
And then just in general with regard to the state education department, Um, you know, a few months back, the governor's task force put forth their report regarding Common Core, and the governor has taken the view that basically the various recommendations could be implemented by the state education department. Is there any overall increase other than these specific areas in funding for the state education department so that they can undertake those initiatives?
Send it again. Professional development received $1 million.
And that's separate and apart from the normal funding we give to teacher centers?
Yes.
Okay, and then the last one I just had a question on was, you know, we're doing this appropriation again this year for $8.4 million to expand the availability of test questions. And I know that, you know, we had one vendor, Pearson, who this is their last year that they'll have produced the test, and then we have the new vendor coming in. That money, while it's being appropriated to the department, do we anticipate that that money will be used within the department for test questions, or is that going to go to one of these outside vendors?
That's up to the department.
Okay, so they would, I guess, determine just the best way to,
Yes.
to put the questions together and whether that's going to go to the vendor or not. Okay, Mr. Speaker, on the bill?
On the bill, sir.
So, you know, some of these initiatives I think are welcome, but in general, when we talk about, you know, funding at the state education department level, and we look at things like the recommendations of the governor's task force, you know, I happen to very much disagree with the idea that they can on their own implement most of those things. I think we still have some work to do in the legislature with that regard. But I also know that despite many of the issues over the last few years, it's fair to say that, you know, the state education department is in need of funding so that they can get back to being a department that can collaborate with our districts, provide support, and so that the interactions aren't necessarily negative as they often are right now with our school districts. So I think it's great that we're continuing to look at funding new initiatives within the office. You know, last year we had a push to make sure we had funding so that they can process applications coming in for capital projects for districts because we saw a particular area of need. And I think, again, we're identifying some areas of need and providing funding, which is great. But it's something that we're going to have to continue to look at because their staffing levels are much lower than they once were. And that is in part why there's a lot of frustration with the local level in working with the state education department. But I do also want to note that obviously, you know, as we're carrying forward some of the policies of the past that, you know, were rushed through last year, and I know those will be maybe referenced in other bills, but we still have work to do in the legislature so that we can truly implement the recommendations of that task force and probably go beyond that to really make meaningful changes for our school districts and for our children. So I thank Mr. Farrell for his answers and certainly everybody for continuing to discuss these issues because we're a week away from the next round of testing and they're not going away and we have a lot of work to do. So thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Goodell.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Would the sponsor yield?
Mr. Farrell yields. Mr. Goodell.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Farrell. It's always a pleasure to see you, and thank you for answering some questions. And I apologize. I shared some of the problems with my other colleagues having gotten the 700 pages just a little while ago. I've been doing my best to read it, but I may have missed things, and so I appreciate your thoughts and comments. I did note on page 216 that there was a $10 million appropriation, Children and Family Services, for additional funding for daycare. During the budget hearing, though, there was a lot of testimony that the new federal standards were going to increase the cost of our daycare providers in the range of $90 million. And one of my colleagues, Mr. Hevesy, I thought made an excellent point that with this being such a critical issue, child care, that we should provide the full funding, or we might inadvertently be, in a sense, cutting the amount of child care that's available. Is there a reason why we only added $10 million, or am I missing the other $80 million somewhere in the budget?
We're trying to get a federal waiver to pay for it.
And so this,
So we anticipate we'll get it.
so this $10 million is on hope that we'll get the waiver and we won't need to spend the other 80.
Yes. Yes.
Looking at page 350.
Oh, it's not required for this year.
I see. Looking at page 353 of the budget, which I believe deals with the exchange, the health exchange. As I recall, when we were asked to form a state-operated exchange rather than have the federal government do it, we were assured that the cost of the exchange would be zero to the taxpayers. That would be self-sustaining. But it looks to me like we're spending roughly $100 million to maintain the exchange. Is that correct?
Maintain it. It's Medicaid dollars and administrative jobs. Did that answer it?
But there is a fairly substantial expense on the state side, isn't there, for that exchange?
About 70. Yeah, about 70 million, yes.
When I looked at the earlier budget, because as you pointed out earlier yesterday.
No, it's still today.
Oh, I see.
It's a sunny afternoon.
Since you pointed out earlier, it looked to me that the amount that was in the appropriation account for the exchange was $381 million, and it's now $490 million. Is that correct? That number's changed between the first draft and the current draft?
Yes.
This would be the total amount available. It looks like it's gone up from $489 million to $607 million. Is that correct?
They were separate. Is that the numbers here? Are you on page 353?
Yes, I am. Right in the middle of the page.
Yeah.
Line 28.
Yeah. As you can see here on line 31, the total amount is available is $607,455. And that's the combined number as it shows here in the numbers.
I would actually be delighted if it was 607,000. I think it's 607 million, isn't it?
Yes, right.
Yeah. But on the governor's draft, wasn't that line 489 million?
It may have been, but they put them together so you get a higher number.
Now, I know that we're very sensitive to these kind of issues, but when we increase an appropriation in the governor's budget, aren't we required to do it by adding a separate line item rather than simply increasing the number on an existing line?
The governor resubmitted the budget. He took it back, then gave it back to us. So it would be the way it is now.
So this number here that we see was in the governor's 30-day amendments?
No. It was when we, what is this, D? Yeah. In other words, he then took it back and then gave it back to us this way.
By now, you probably recognize my binder for the Constitution.
Yeah, it matches one of my cars.
I have an extra copy for you if you'd like.
No, I have enough of my own.
But under the Constitution, the governor only has 30 days to make those budget amendments, right? He can't take it back like yesterday and submit
I
it to
think
us
he
this
can.
afternoon.
I think he can. Yes, he the king.
He may have done it, but I'm not sure that's constitutional. And I would just point out, by the way, that when the legislature changes the budget after the 30-day amendments,
Yeah.
the Constitution is clear we need to add a separate line, not just combine the
Yeah.
numbers. We can keep that in mind for future budgets,
Yes.
because I'm sure we'll want to make sure those are done
The
properly.
next time you go to one of his meetings, you should remind him of that.
I will. I'm waiting for the invitation. Looking at page 357, I see there's an appropriation for services and expenses relating to establishing the medical marijuana program. Now, to be honest, I wasn't really that high on medical marijuana.
Oh, I'm going to leave all of that alone.
Thank you, sir. But my question is, how much are we spending to implement that program? Because it appears to be combined with other things. I see the entire cost is $636 million for the Office of Health Insurance Program. Can you tell us how much we're spending for the implementation of the medical marijuana program?
Around 7 million.
And how many patients do we have that are taking advantage of that program?
We don't know that. My answer is we don't know that.
From my understanding of the number of people that are involved, we could use the $7 million and make them much happier in other ways.
Mm-hmm.
Just suggesting. Thank you, Mr. Aparo. Again, I appreciate.
Have a good afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it.
Mr. Palumbo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the sponsor yield for?
Mr. Farrell yields. Mr. Palumbo.
Thank you, Denny. Regarding the OPWDD funding under mental health, I see there was an increase in the community services program from $1.4 billion, with $6 million more than the governor. Was that increase included to offset some costs regarding payroll increases and so forth? Is payroll included in that? I guess is my question.
This is for new services.
For new services. Bless you. So would the general funding for OPWDD come into the aid to localities bill? Is that coming down the road, I guess, later today?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Thank you. If I may speak on the bill, please. Thank you, Mr. Farrell.
Certainly.
Thank you.
On the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Now, this is, I guess, in conjunction with a lot of the other issues, I guess, that my colleagues have been mentioning. I think we might have a real issue and a real problem with some unintended consequences when it comes to OPWDD. Obviously, the Office of People with Developmental Disabilities, we cannot forget these folks because most home health aides make less than $15 an hour. So we are going to have to come up with some very significant subsidies and funding for these folks. So we're in the early morning hours here of the 1st, and I know we're going to break for a few hours and come back. So you'll certainly hear from me again when those other bills come out, but we need to be sure that they're adequately funded because I've met with several of those folks, and they are very worried, and we can't forget these folks. So we'll be talking in a few hours. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. DiPietro.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Would the sponsor yield for a couple questions?
Mr. Farrell will yield. Mr. DiPietro.
Thank you, Denny. You know, you're an inspiration. I go sneak in the back for a little cat nap, and you're still up here talking the whole time, so your energy is really phenomenal. I'd like to keep it brief, but I think it's going to be more than 4 words this time. On the SAFE Act, the 3.2 million, can you go over that again, where it was broken down in 3 ways, but I wasn't able to write it all down. Could you tell me again?
On the SAFE Act,
Yeah, the
the
3.2.
budget contained $3.2 million for the implementation of New York State's SAFE Act. The funding level is flat from last year enacted budget and supports 39 staff.
Okay. Did you say there's 1.8 million for?
Where's the other page? Ask that question again.
Yeah, you broke down to 3.2 before, but I didn't.
Oh, it was broken down into 1.8 million
Right.
for 27
Got it.
Division of State Police, 324,000 Division of Criminal Justice Services, 12 folks working there, and 1.1 million in the Office of Information and Technology Services for 16 workers.
The 1.1 million for the service technology, that wasn't designated for the database, correct?
Is it for the database? Let's see, the components implemented was assault weapons registration, mental health reporting, and ammunition-only dealer registrations. And what's left to be done is components on the development of the pistol permit processing system. Repeat.
Got it. So the 20.7 million continuing funding you were talking about that's going to be coming up in the later budget, will that be also for that database they're trying to implement?
Yes, it's one of the options.
Okay. Last year, the head of the state police told the newspapers and made a public statement that the database was unworkable and they weren't able to build it and they weren't going to continue with it. So will that funding, does that mean that they're actually going to start and try again and use that money? Or is that money going to go to something else now?
I don't really know. Does he still have his job?
After making that comment, I don't know. I wouldn't.
The next guy will do it.
I wouldn't be too confident if I was him. In here, you also have the DCJS, the unknown amount to support affiliated, but it's with the SAFE Act, correct? It's in the budget here.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
Right here it says SAFE Act, unknown amount to support employees affiliated with the SAFE Act.
Yeah, we just gave you the amounts of where it is.
Well, is there any DCJS funding this year?
So you're asking the same question which was asked before. This is the, on the 3.2 million, 1.8 was for 27 workers for the state police, 324,000 was for Division of Criminal Justice, 12 workers, 1.1 million for Office of Information and Technology Services for 16 workers.
Okay, so there is no other funding for DCJS?
No, not to do, no.
Okay. Last year, if you remember, there was an amount and we tried to figure it out, but you guys were a little hesitant on where it was and what it was, and
Yeah.
we figured it was about 13 employees, about 1.4 to 6 million. That's not in the budget this year. That's not.
No. Yeah, so you have the numbers now this time.
Okay.
We're better prepared.
Well, that's good. I had a question on that, and I'll take your word on that one, and I appreciate all your help, and I really give you a lot of credit tonight, or this morning, or this afternoon, whatever it is. On the bill, Mr. Speaker.
On the bill, Mr. DiPietro.
Thank you. Very briefly, just want to point out that, again, the SAFE Act is, the unsafe act, as we call it up in our area, is still being funded. It's still a law that has not saved one life, yet it was touted to save hundreds, and it's been nothing but a disaster. It's made a lot of innocent people guilty just for the fact that in the other literally 49 states, they would be considered good citizens. In New York State, they're considered criminals. And the quicker we can repeal this, the better. Normally, I'd be a little bit more forceful, but it's so late, I'm getting really, like when I get this way, I get a little more melancholy, and if anybody needs to borrow any money, now's the time to probably hit me up. I'll probably give you everything I got. So on that, I'll be voting no. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Daniel Steck.
Would the chairman rise for just one quick question? Thanks, Chairman.
Mr. Farrell will answer your questions.
All right. Some of my sheriff's office from the counties that I represent expressed concern earlier on about the governor had proposed removing state police reimbursement to local law enforcement for marine patrols that they would perform on Lake George and other bodies of water. Is any of that addressed in this budget bill? And if not, or is it possibly coming in a future bill?
We restored it.
Is it in this bill?
Yes.
It is. It's good news. I'm going to go into the 703 pages and find it. Can you tell me what page
Let me
it's
make sure
on?
I'm right.
I want to give it to my sheriff and tell him that we did something right for him.
Yeah, no, it's not in this bill.
It's
It's
not.
in the next one.
It's in the next one. All right, it's in there.
Yeah, it's
All
in
right.
there.
Thank you, Denny. Thank you.
Something to bring you back, Mr. Steck. Read the last section.
This act shall take effect immediately.
The clerk will record the vote. Are there any other votes? We go. Announce the results.
Ayes 83, noes 36.
The bill is passed. Mr. Morelli.
Yes, sir. Do we have any resolutions to take up?
As it is, we do have some resolutions. On the resolutions, all those in favor signify by saying aye. There it is. The resolutions are adopted. Mr. Morelli.
I was going to do an announcement about party conferences, but somehow I think that's pressing it tonight. So how about we do this? Why don't we, I'll move that we stand adjourned until April 1st at 9:30 a.m. tomorrow morning, tomorrow being a session day.
Assembly will stand at ease till... Are we adjourned? Adjourn? Assembly will stand adjourned.